بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. The greatest of humans ever seen on the face of this earth, Muhammad Mustafa Ahmad Mujtaba sallallahu alaihi wasallam, made his Mubarak appearance in this alam-e-dunya approximately 55 days after the incident of the elephants, and according to different narrations, born on a Monday on the 8th of Rabi-Ul-Awwal, corresponding to the English calendar 570 AD, in Makkatul Mukarramah at the home of Abu Talib. Generally it is known to be the 12th of Rabi-Ul-Awwal, but amongst the muhaddithin and historians, the most preferred view is the 8th. And the Mubarak birth of Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam came with its barakat and blessings. The mother of Uthman bin Al-As, explaining the birth of Nabi alayhi salam, says that I was in the house and I noticed the whole house radiating with noor and brilliance, and I witnessed stars stooping so low down that I thought they would come crashing down onto me. And in another narration, Amina radiallahu anha observed the radiance that illuminated the places of Syria. According to some narrations, Busra also became illuminated. On that very night, a tremor struck the palace of Khosrows, and it caused all 14 towers of the palace to crumble. Then the blazing fire, which was ignited for over 1,000 years in Persia, that fire abruptly became extinguished. Then Lake Sawa also just dried up. That morning Khosrows was distressed, and the narrations are quite in detail of what had happened. The riwayat of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anh, Nabi alayhi salam was born fully circumcised and his navel was clearly cut. And his grandfather Abdul Muttalib was amazed at the birth of Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam, where he seen a dream and is inspired to name him Muhammad. And on the other hand, his mother seen a dream which she was carrying the most saintly individual, the most supreme leader of humanity. She was also directed to keep his name Muhammad, other narrations Ahmad. Muhammad's origin is from the root letters Hamd, and it refers to a person who has praiseworthy attributes, virtues, achievements, outstanding character, and a person who is faultless in character, who has commendable attributes and is perfectly flawless at every level. A lot of narrations and riwayat with regards to the previous scripts and books, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the riwayat of Wahab bin Munabbih, where Allah sent wahi to Dawood alayhi salam in the Zabur, Ya Dawood, innahu sayati min ba'dika nabiyyun, after you a Nabi will come, ismuhu Ahmad wa Muhammad, sadiqan sayyidan, he is truthful, he is a leader, la aghdabu alayhi abada, I will never get angry with him, wa la yughdibuni, and he will never make me angry, وَقَدْ غَفَرْتُ لَهُ قَبْلَ أَنْ يَعْصِيَنِي, and I've forgiven him even if he had to make an error. مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِهِ وَمَا تَأَخَّرَ, his past, present and future sins, errors. وَأُمَّتُهُ مَرْحُومَةٌ, Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes this ummah because Nabi alayhi salam is a mercy to mankind, rahmatul lil alameen. His ummah is marhuma. I've given them nawafil which I gave anbiya, I've given them faraid which I've given anbiya, until they will come to me on the day of Qiyamah. وَنُورُهُمْ مِثْلُ نُورِ الْأَنْبِيَا. Their nur will be like the nur of anbiya. Ya Dawood, Inni faddaltu Muhammadan wa ummatahu. I've given virtue to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam in his ummah. Alal umami kulliha. Over they surpass every other ummah and nation. So in the previous books, even occurrences, Abu Talib was traveling with some elders of the Quraysh to Syria. Say Nabi alayhi salam was at the age of 12 and he took him with, and a Christian priest who was living in that vicinity came out, and this monk emerged and he scrutinized the travelers, and as soon as he laid his eyes on Janabi Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, said, this is the leader of the worlds, this is the messenger of the worlds. Allah will commission him as an embodiment of mercy for the people of this world. The Quraysh hearing this were quite surprised and inquired, how do you know this? Why are you making such a bold claim? So the monk replied, when you emerge from the valley of the mountain, every single boulder and tree stooped down in sajda. And trees and boulders don't bow down to anyone besides a Nabi. Secondly, I recognize the seal of prophethood. So, we are fortunate that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made us from the best of ummahs under the ummah of this Nabi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praised Nabi alayhi salam. Allah mentioned his body parts. Allah spoke specifically about his Sifaat and his qualities. One with regards to his intellect, مَا ضَلَّ صَاحِبُكُمْ وَمَا غَوَى, with regards to his truthfulness, وَمَا يَنْطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ, with regards to his vision, مَا زَاغَ الْبَصَرُ وَمَا طَغَىٰ, with regards to his heart, مَا كَذَبَ الْفُؤَادُ مَا رَأَىٰ, with regards to his chest, أَلَمْ نَشْرَحْ لَكَ صَدْرَكَ, with regards to his name, وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ, with regards to his perseverance and his good character, بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ رَؤُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ, with regards to his knowledge, عَلَّمَهُ شَدِيدُ الْقُوَى, ayat upon ayat, Allah is praising the Nabi of Allah. Then Allah is saying, he is worthy of praise. I also and the Malaika send peace and salutations to this Nabi. That's how special he is. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Not only that, but O people on earth, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Rightly so, you should also send salutations to this Mubarak Nabi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken qasam on his city, La uqsimu bihadha al-balad. Allah has taken qasam on the night and day, وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى, when speaking about the Nabi of Allah, مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has explained in his kitab that an oath of allegiance, a pledge was taken with Anbiya, all the Anbiya, that if you are alive and Habib, Mustafa, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam comes, then you need to pledge allegiance to him. وَإِذْ أَخَذَ اللَّهُ مِثَاقَ النَّبِيِّينَ, Allah took a pledge and they accepted it. أَقْرَرْنَا, we accept this. When you love somebody, you don't call them by their direct name, but you call them by a nickname. Allah loved Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam so much that Allah praised him with a nickname and called him Ya Ayyuhan Nabi, Ya Ayyuhal Rasool, Ya Ayyuhal Muzzammil, Ya Ayyuhal Muddathir. Otherwise, when Allah addressed other Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam, Allah said, Ya Adamu, uskun anta wa zawjuka al-jannah, Ya Nuh, bit bi salam, Ya Ibrahim, qad saddaqta al-ru'ya, Ya Yahya, khudh al-kitab biquwwah. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took an oath, He took an oath on the Zat of Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam. So Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu explains that no creation of Allah is more noble than the Nabi of Allah. I have not heard Allah taking an oath on the life of anybody besides Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam. لَعَمْرُكَ إِنَّهُمْ لَفِي سَكْرَتِهِمْ يَعْمَهُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had commanded us to honor Him and to respect His Nabi to such that previous nations, when calling their Nabi, they call them by their names. Allah is saying, my beloved, I am not calling him by his name because he's special. You also don't. Ya Musa, ij'al lana ilahan. Ya Hud, ma ji'tana. Ya Salih, tina bima ta'iduna. So, different nations addressed their Nabi by their names. Allah commanded us, La taj'alu du'a al-Rasul baynakum ka du'a'i ba'dikum ba'da. Don't call your Nabi like how you address each other. Then, if you're going to address this Nabi, then don't raise your voice. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la tarfa'u aswatakum fawqa sawtin Nabi. Make sure your sound does not surpass him. Have respect for this Nabi. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given every Nabi a dua that was mustajab. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam has kept this provision for this ummah. لِكُلِّ نَبِيٍّ دَعْوَةٌ مُسْتَجَابَةٌ. Every Nabi had a dua which he utilized, except Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, who has kept this special virtue for shafa'ah on the day of Qiyamah. Then Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam made dua for their ummats, فَمَنْ تَبِعَنِي فَإِنَّهُ مِنِّي. Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah, whoever follows me, they are from amongst my group. وَمَنْ أَصَانِي. Ya Allah, if they disobey the command, then you are forgiven. Isa alayhi salam said, In tu'adhibhum fa'innahum. Oh Allah, if you punish them, then they are your servants, and if you forgive them, then you know the wisdom and the hikmat why. When Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam lifted his hands and he said, Ummati, Ummati, and he cried, and Allah sent Jibril and said, Idhab ila Muhammad faqul lahu Inna sanurdika fi ummatika. O Muhammad, we will make you happy with regards to your ummah. أنا سيد ولد آدم يوم القيامة ولا فخر. On the day of Qiyamah, Nabi alayhi salam will be the leader of mankind. وأول من تنشق عنه الأرض. The earth will split first. The first interceder, biyadi liwa'ul hamd. I will have the flag of honor, and I will be awwalu, the first person who will knock on the door and enter Jannah. إن الجنة حرمت على الأنبياء حتى أدخلها, until I don't enter Jannah. Jannah is haram on all Anbiya, and Jannat is haram on all Ummahs. Until my Ummah does not enter into Jannat, no other Ummah will get permission to enter Jannah. So we are Khairul the best of Ummahs. Then 5 specialities which he was given. Nusirtu bir-Rab. Nabi alayhi salam was given awe. وَجُعِلَتْ لِيَ الْأَرْض مَسْجِدًا وَطَهُورًا. The earth has been made a masjid. And Ghanimat booty has been made permissible. I've been granted Sifaat. And I've been sent to the whole of mankind. I've been sent to the whole of humanity. Then, amongst the fadail and the virtues of Nabi alayhi salatu, نَحْنُ الْآخِرُونَ السَّابِقُونَ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. This ummah will come last, but they will go first into Jannah. That's through the barakah of Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam. This ummah will be witnesses on the day of Qiyamah. A Nabi will be called, he will be asked that, هَلْ بَلَّغْتَ, did you fulfill this responsibility? He will say, Na'am, yes. Then the ummah will be asked, did this Nabi do the responsibility and fulfill the requirements of tabligh? They will say, مَا أَتَانَا مِن نَذِيرٍ. No warner had come. مَن يَشْهَدُ لَكَ, what is your testimony and witness, O Nabi? He will say, Muhammad wa ummatuhu. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his ummah will bear testimony. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. This ummah's virtue is through the virtue of Janabi Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he will be given the Hawd al-Kawthar on the day of Qiyamah. Books will be written, the ink will get finished, and the virtues of my beloved Nabi will not come to an end. Ulama explain that the least we should start with is recite Durud. If a person cannot move their tongue in memory of the Nabi of Allah, how will their bodies ever move? So we should firstly prioritize the sunnats, prioritize our life, prioritize our ambition, and try to emulate the Mubarak life of Janabi Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ibn Abi Shayba has mentioned in his kitab about a person who had traveled and he found a person in the different places of Hajj reciting Durud. So he asked that person, every movement, wherever you go, you are reading Durud, but there are other amals. Inna likulli maqam maqala. Why are you making Durud all the time? So that person said, you want to hear my story? He said, I left from Khurasan for Hajj, and my father was with me, and when we reached Kufa, he became ill, and he passed away. And after we covered him, I opened up his face, and it was, in different narrations, one kasuratil himar, like that of a donkey. Another one, فَإِذَا هُوَ مَيِّتٌ aswadul wajh, his face was blackened and dark. So when I seen this, I became very stressed, and I said, how can I expose this? In this grief, I fell into a sleep, and I seen a person in my dream, and he came to my father. And the narrations mention there were 4 dark people with lead clubs ready to beat my father. And when they came, this person came, warded them off and repelled them. And I asked, who are you? He said that your father was engaged in interest and this is the punishment. But his one mamul was daily used to read Durud every day before he used to sleep 100 times. I am the Nabi of Allah, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The amal for today is to recite excessive durood. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.